I'd like to call the special meeting of the Dover Select Board to order on Wednesday, November 29th at 1:07 PM. Today, we're gonna go over our first look at budgets. And we're gonna start off with our assessor, Linda Sherman.
Hi.
Hi.
Do I need to?
This was provided in the packet that Jeanette sent us.
Yes.
Linda's,
Yeah, all of these.
so this doesn't appear to be,
So that's what, yeah, that's what they submit to me, and then
Right.
I transfer that into the budget,
Right.
sort of like the detail behind. The assessor budget, assessor mileage and expense, for example, and then up top, you can see their wage, you know, in the top section of the budget.
Linda, do you wanna tell us why your proposed budget is down?
It is. No. it's not.
Oh, 107, sorry. I get it, does not include, I get it.
I don't think it.
It's
went up.
90, it's 107,664.
Yeah, I don't think it went up by much.
That's only $2,500.
Last, the only thing I changed was my assessor department overall expense. My file cabinets, the majority are bulging at the bottom. So I added, I believe it was 1,000.
Sure.
And that's only gonna buy a couple of decent cabinets, but I may be able to switch some out. Depending, maybe able to still buy some this year to offset that. I'm just looking at moving forward for the reappraisal and what extra expenses might be incurred due to that. The assessor clerk line had been bumped last year, and I didn't make any changes on that. I have had very brief contact with Katie. She did have her baby, cute little bug, but did not phone me yesterday, which she was going to do. I contacted her again today to see where she might be at. So at this point, she wouldn't be utilizing that, was it 28,000? That wouldn't even be coming into play because
How long has she been out?
a month and a half-ish.
So you'll probably be not use that much of that line item this year then.
Correct, yeah, not much at all.
Is that causing a problem? That you don't have help?
I have a little backup as far as filing goes, but that's not, it's not a big deal. I'm about almost through it. And obviously toward the end of March, April, it could be a problem. So either I get a hold of her or drive over to see her, or I just say, I don't have time to like chase after her either, but I would like a definitive answer when she's here. She's amazing. But I have a feeling she might be a little more stretched than she was.
How long ago was the baby born?
Like a couple of weeks.
So she took off a little bit of time before the baby.
She took off, gosh. Yeah, even when, I didn't even know she was pregnant. Didn't know she obviously was oh, Scott.
Okay, I didn't wanna cut you off.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, it's been hard to pinpoint. Could be miscommunication.
Okay, Scott?
I was just gonna say, I think, what was, when we had spoke, Linda, was the idea that she was going to come back early November.
Right. That,
So that, the fact that, I'm not sure when she had her baby, but if she was thinking she was gonna be back early November, and we're pretty much done with November, and still no word, maybe,
Okay.
at least think about, if you know you need someone for March, and it's been tough to get someone, really reach out. If she's great while she's there, but might want to start thinking, well, if she hasn't reached out yet, and she said she was going to be back in early November, she might not be coming back.
So maybe we're at the point we should send her some kind of like registered letter so that she's aware of the fact that we're looking for information and we have it documented. And give her a time frame to respond, and it's just, all we're looking for is a response at this point. And,
Yeah, it could be that she didn't realize how long she needed to recover from this, and she's embarrassed or uncomfortable because she said she would be back weeks ago and hasn't. So a letter. And then, if you had her back by February 15th or something, would that be a good time frame for you? Like if you said to her, we want you back as soon as possible, but as long as you can come back by X date and commit to that, then otherwise you're gonna have to try to hire somebody, right?
right, so I think that you need to get that documented, and yes, and try to get some answers. Because you shouldn't have to chase, because it's. Anybody have any other questions about Linda's budget?
I would just suggest if you know that you're gonna lose some of that. Well, actually, no, that's next year's budget, never mind.
Okay. All right. Great, thanks, Linda. All right,
Can I just ask Scott, are you hearing us okay? Cause it just seems like when you were talking, I couldn't hear him very well.
yeah, he wasn't very loud.
Okay.
I just knew what he was saying because we had
Yeah.
that conversation
Yeah.
yesterday,
Okay.
but.
I'll speak up, but I can hear you just fine.
okay, great.
Thank you.
On your way down, Linda, could you send Tavia?
Absolutely.
And then we have the board of civil authority meeting before we have the double meeting today.
Yeah. These are just. Oh, I didn't even put those on in those tabs. I didn't even bother with,
Oh.
yeah,
okay.
that's why, that's what you're, okay, yeah, I'm sorry.
No, that's.
I was eventually going to, yeah, just start. Put it in section of the budget. Sorry.
Someone could just jump up and down and do that.
Hi, Tabby, good to see you. So Tabby, you want to give us the highlights of your budget?
Absolutely. I have not really made much of a change with one exception. I just figured in 3% On salary, kept the IT permit fees, again, those are best guess,
They don't see those today, the income they don't see,
okay,
just expenses.
okay. Then. What I'm looking at is adding another 300 to expenses. For zoning, mileage, training, etc., since so many of the fees for training have gone up, although there are some I'm doing as many free ones as possible, but the membership in the flood zone things that's gone up anyways. Really, two things that I'd like to talk about really is continuing with the project to digitize the entire zoning universe. I do have my scanner in, I've been starting to scan things. Right now, those documents are sitting on our server. So they're available, but the end goal was to have everything backed up into the cloud, digitized, and being able to have an automated process where somebody could fill out an application online and do the full process, as well as it will allow better reporting on where each item is in each step. Not only have I been looking at various software and various opportunities, but there's been a running dialogue on the zoning administrators mail serve. Many of the ZAs throughout town who are all looking at this as well. One of the companies that was mentioned, which had been a first thought, turned out to be a very good second thought, and now my preferred is called iWork, IWORQ. They are the most reasonably priced with the greatest reach to what we want to do. Everything that I was looking at with the Burlington and some of the bigger towns and the smaller towns, well up into the double digits and further. I about had a heart attack on some of the software prices I was seeing. So this one for an annual license is $3,700, which is a lot less than the 12, which was the smallest other pricing that I was finding. That would allow a portal. For example, somebody could come in and interact with the system. There is something that would be less that's the best description would be calling it dead storage, but dead cloud storage. It would require interaction, somebody other than me would not be able to go in and search. So with this, and there being a portal involved, somebody who's doing a title search or some such would be able to pull up the virtual file folder of any current and historic permits. My thought is adding in all of the legacy wastewater as well for the parcels, because that's something that I do get quite a bit of inquiries, because the legacy stuff is not up in the state. Anything pre-2007 is sitting here. So trying to streamline the process as well as give us a guaranteed backup. If this building sinks into the swamp, we're fully backed up and fully compliant. So that's kind of my second stage of my preferred big project. The other project coming up is then addressing the bylaw revisions and bylaw updates. In planning commission meetings, we've been working on the entire town plan, which has been dealt with budgetarily by a grant from the state. We are now looking towards, hopefully, if the state continues to do what they're doing, getting a grant for the bylaw update. It's a different program. Should the state change their mind and decide not to support bylaw updates, we could go through the same municipal grant program that we do have now for the next stage, which is the bylaw update. I have put down on my sheet 15 in talking with Matt Bockler, who is our representative with Wyndham. He said, yeah, throw 25 in there. And again, if we're looking to get a grant, says that's the maximum the grant will give you. Let's see how that works. How many hours, how much detail will be involved in that? Not really sure yet, but there will be a fair amount of lift because it will involve our town attorney reviewing a lot of the municipal pieces, plus a lot of changes in integrating S.100, 100, which is the new home bill, which is enforcing various zoning changes.
Okay, so all of this you envision in the next fiscal year.
Yes,
Okay, so I hope you also increased legal in your. Because if we're gonna have to have them look at, I think you have to pay attention, that also ripples through.
I did not have a line item in here for legal. I know that we've talked about it before. I don't know what those numbers are yet. But mentally, in that 25,000, I was including our legal fees for the work that needs to be done on that. And hopefully being able to get that covered by a grant as well. That was why I went up from 15 to 25 in discussion with Matt.
Wait, you're at 25 now? I have 15.
Yeah,
Right, that's what it was, and then I had a whole conversation with
so we
Matt.
have to adjust that.
So
Yeah, and I made copies of the sheets for you if you'd like to add that. But in about 3 or 4 conversations with Matt over the past day and a half.
On page 2 of the whole budget section.
it's 15, so making it 25. It's planning commission legal fees. Yeah.
Yes, we don't have anything.
You don't have anything for zoning. If you wanna put some zoning legal fees, you can. Because at last year, we decided that we
We're
wanna
gonna
have
separate
different-
them out.
Separate accounts for the different departments to segregate out legal.
And
fees.
I have no idea how to
Okay.
ballpark that, and this time I don't know what last year's numbers are yet. I'm not really sure what an appropriate number would be. I'll certainly, I try to keep it to an absolute minimum. But I don't know what,
But it sounds like there will be, I mean, you already do have legal fees.
yes,
So that aren't somehow captured in our budget, so we need to put something in, I don't know how we. Yeah,
I think if we estimate 200 per application. As a ballpark. For legal fees, because every decision gets reviewed, some of them are very fast, some of them are a lot more time consuming. But if you can just take an average number of, like, how many
applications came before the DRB, I'm happy to do that.
I think that would be reasonable. 'Cause I
There are a couple of things that I do call up to discuss, but really, the thing
So maybe add 5 on top, 500 on top.
I think that would be,
Okay.
so that's a number you have to get to Marco. Okay,
and that's pretty much. The only things. I'm looking for, I mean. I wouldn't mind. Trying to get better desk arrangements and stuff for the office, but that's not anything of any importance, it's convenience, it's not importance. This stuff is important.
anybody have any questions of Tabby about her budget? Nope. Okay.
I will add one thing, more as a statement rather than a budgetary thing. I just got last night the decision and date from the State Board of Health about the fire safety team, DPS, taking over the rental housing health code piece for health for the state. That starts December 31st, and so that will hopefully reduce the amount of time that I need to go out to inspect rental housing. This past year, I haven't had to go out much on that. It's been more in future years, but that will be hopefully a reduction in the amount of time that I go up with that. It's just part of the universe, but we're able to now give part of that universe to fire safety.
Okay, and I assume that our fire department is aware of that.
Well, it's fire commissioner.
The commissioner is coming, who's
Yeah,
overwhelmed anyway.
they apparently have hired some people.
Wow, okay, okay,
So this was the big,
okay, Well, they probably do need to hire people with all the,
with all of the short-term rentals, and
Yes.
this will affect how the short-term rental gets handled and all of that. I just got a 3-page email last night with details.
hear that, Eric?
You let me know.
Oh, we did.
That's okay, I'm gonna send him a copy of it.
Okay, cause that's really important, cause he's pulling together short-term rental potential regulations, so,
Exactly, and so that will affect
yes,
quite a bit of that,
okay,
so.
I'm sorry,
okay.
and you have $100 for DRB expenses, what are those?
I'm sorry?
The DRB expenses, what is that?
Oh,
Only
and,
$100.
well, we went with, what I had last year was the,
What do we use it for, I mean?
well, salary and mileage and expenses, the $200 mileage and expenses, the DRB has not at this point had to go down to Wyndham Regional for any meetings or anything like that, so the mileage is, you know, pretty much zero with the exception of going from a board member's home to here. And then we put in a number of planning commission personnel, we
No, I'm looking at, there's a line item that says DRB expenses and it's $100, and I'm.
oh, no, that was from the 22-23. Go all the way to the furthest,
And it says proposed 24-25 is $100.
You kept it the same.
It's one,
I could,
it's 1714.
You have 200 for planning commission. And 100.
oh,
for
I'm
DRB.
sorry, I'm sorry.
It would just be if you took a class or something, or.
Oh,
that-
Yeah, I don't.
So there's just a small amount of mileage, and if they had to go to a meeting in Matt, you know, they carpool or something, okay.
Something like that, I'm sorry, I got conflated between PC, DRB, ABC 1, 2, 3.
So Tabby just said that the state is taking over
Rental housing health code,
health code.
I will, as
Yes,
health
as of
officer,
December
as
31st.
of December 31st. I will be required and I am going to send out to the board the letter that I got last night. Just for your entertainment value, I will be supporting them. Should they call on me for that additional support or involvement, we do not have a specific code enforcement team for rental housing healthcare, so some health code, so some of that does not apply. But there are specifics in there that says that I, as health officer, would support them.
Okay,
I don't know what that means.
make sure to send that to Eric.
Oh, yes,
Short term, long term, everything?
I will send you the whole letter, it's primarily focusing on short term, but it is all rental housing. So that includes long term, that includes, if it is a rental, it is covered under that, which includes somebody who's got an accessory apartment or anything like that, that also falls under rental housing.
Okay,
The only other thing which comes under me a little bit, but is the question that we do not have a backup kennel for dog quarantines. We had an issue last week where we had 4 dogs that needed to be quarantined from one household. We quarantined them within that household, but Wyndham, which is where we normally go, was closed because everybody had COVID, the entire shelter was closed. So we made an awful lot of calls, an awful lot of scrambling to try to find anywhere. And in 2 states, we literally had nothing. We were able to quarantine dogs appropriately in that person's house. I've done the follow-up check. Everything's fine, nobody has rabies, but something to possibly look into, and I don't know how that will be answered yet, is a backup kennel should our primary be unavailable.
I don't know the answer to that. I don't know that we've ever had that. Maybe we could talk with our animal control officers.
They are well aware of this, and they've been, I've chatted with them about this as well, because they were both very helpful, as we, all 3 of us were calling everywhere, trying to get this situation resolved, but the question is will that, if we find a backup, be a cost to the town?
I'd say probably yes.
Probably, yes. I don't know what's available. I think that's gonna take some additional research and discussion. I mean, this instance was solved without a problem, but if it happens again, I mean, I just don't know.
Right?
I was just gonna say that in my experience, this instance was kind of an outlier.
Agreed.
It doesn't happen often, and the workaround is that they quarantine in the house. That's just, that is a possibility, and that's what happens.
So have the dogs had their rabies vaccines now?
They are getting them on Friday. They are clear, they are happy, they are healthy. They've gone past the required observation time, so by directive of the state health officer, if they had rabies, they'd be
A
not
mess.
here at this point.
All right,
But again, this was definitely an outlier, but it was a challenge to solve, and I just don't think it's gonna come up, but I'd like to be prepared if something happens. You know, where's our reach out?
right. I don't know the answer to that, but the chance of Wyndham Humane being closed for COVID completely is probably not on a regular basis.
I reached out to quite a few other towns and quite a few, and they were not available, not taking intake, not working private beds, all sorts of different things. Again, this is an outlier that they were for. So, anyway, just
Okay. Does anybody have any other questions for Tabby? All right, thanks, Tabby.
you're welcome.
Fire department's up next, and Rich isn't here yet, so
Just set me know.
Ooh, excuse me.
just now.
Wait a minute.
Okay.
So
Shocker.
maybe we should get Andy to come up and do his. Huh? I think PD is probably gonna go longer than 20 minutes, but I'm guessing that's why they scheduled last.
Probably.
Won't be any money left by the time it's your turn.
Right?
Sorry,
Hey, you should go first, because I'm doing the monies.
the money's flowing, right?
And tell everybody else to have no budget.
Okay, I'm in there too, sorry.
I mean, Andy's usually doesn't take very long, so.
Yeah.
I would like to go out there and do.
Or if Andy can't do it, we could probably do Marco, right?
Do mine will take 30 seconds.
Okay, well,
Hands up.
well, if Andy's on the phone or is busy, we'll just do you. Cause I doubt Rich is gonna be here in 5 minutes. I think he's the problem. Wasn't the information due? Not that we don't.
Just so it's here.
Oh, yeah, all right. Just getting over,
I had COVID last week.
and he had COVID the week before.
Yeah.
No, last month.
Yes.
I'm getting it.
And you're getting COVID next month.
Well,
While you're driving on the move for the mover?
yeah, it has to be seated out.
I heard that.
That's fine. Is this where you want?
That's great. That is fantastic. Huh?
I want to sit next to you. It's harder for you to get. See, when you throw something, there's not as much momentum, so it doesn't hurt as bad.
Okay, I'm ready. Did we get, that's getting copies of the budget for us.
Do you have a copy?
No, I gave you one. Thanks. Yeah.
Thank you.
Wish I was a pain.
Sorry, Scott. We just got Rich's budget.
fine.
It's how many days to wait? I mean, what percent?
Hey, Randy.
Yes. I
I love you too, Randy. This will be the last time we do this together. I should have been here to go over, is your budget done yet?
No, you can
Oh,
stay
good.
till
I'm
3
gonna stay for
o'clock, yeah,
his.
yeah. All right,
So, listen, regular payroll. I wanted to break it down because, you know, we've taken on search and rescue because we're doing all the trail stuff. So this subtotal on payroll is like last year. It's, if you remember, I brought you last year, I brought you a budget and it was wicked high. And because I said, this is my best guess. And on the right-hand side. Was I looking at that one?
yeah,
Okay, yeah, so on the right-hand side, we kind of went through, okay. You know, like for training, so regular drills, we have roughly 22 regular drills. And we figured there was about, you know, if 8 or 9 people come, we figured 10, because sometimes we get 14, sometimes we get 7, sometimes we get more. Some drills go over an hour, so we're just kind of trying to guess at a number, and it's nothing more than a guess. I mean, it's an educated guess. So when we came down to the 146, if you remember last year, I came in with around 150, and we decided to it was actually 160, and we decided to reduce it to whatever we're at now, which is 75,000. But last year I was at 90. Because with the online training and the search and rescue, and the search and rescue only does 1 drill a month. But they skip a month, but some of their drills last longer because, you know, for them to go on a hike, you know, they by the time they get people gathered up, figure out the mission, go out and accomplish a mission and then get back, you know, they're into 4 or 5 hours sometimes. So if you look at this year, so far, I am at, you know what, I didn't bring that. But I think this year I'm running where the 90 should be good, but not the 75. I'll probably be over budget on payroll again, like I was last year. Again, this 146 is just is putting all the numbers in there. I don't know, again, I can't tell you how many false fire alarms we're gonna have at Mount Snow this year. I can't tell you, you know, how many people are gonna get lost in the woods. So it's, you know, I joked a long time ago when I came to the select board about Bobby Edwards, and I said, you know, highway's a little easier to tell what's gonna happen, because I look out and if it's snowing, I know I'm gonna have to plow. There's no clouds out there. There, you know, in that time I used domestic violence, you know, you never know what's gonna happen. You know, Phil used to get mad at us because we wouldn't add extra people on during snowstorms, but snowstorms aren't never usually that busy, you know. It's, you know, I don't know when somebody's gonna burn their bacon, or I don't know when somebody at Seasons is gonna forget to open the damper and not follow a sign on the door.
Rich, if you're at 48% now.
Right, I know I'm a
Okay.
little high. I had that sheet when
Yeah,
we
it's all
went
right. I
through
mean, we're
this,
halfway
but
through the
thank
year,
you.
so,
Right,
yeah.
but, and
Yeah.
so we're not quite though, because I haven't done this month's payroll.
oh, you haven't done November's.
Right, because November
So
isn't
we're
done.
only a
And
third.
also, and remember, our 3 busiest months are December, January, February. So I'm gonna probably, that's what I'm saying, I'm probably gonna be over, but you know what? Maybe everybody will open their dampers and we won't have any more false fire alarms. You know, who knows? So at the 146, I do feel that's high, but I just wanted to show you where I'm at. And we came up with a number last year that you felt comfortable with, and that, you know, I was comfortable with. I mean, I could put $5 in there and tell you I'm gonna go over budget. So based on last year, and also and it's really working well, but it costs. The online training, a lot of people are taking advantage of that. We do cap, you know, somebody can't do 100 hours of online training every month. They can if they want, but we're capping what we pay for at 6 hours per fireman per month. But some firemen don't do any, and some do 7 or 8. There's some people that, the new people, one of the ways Marco can tell you that we onboard people is we give them a lot of videos training. So like, you're a new fireman, you know, you used to be a fireman in Connecticut, you come up here and you want to join, we have videos so that this is engine one, this is what it does. Here are our SOGs. Go online and you can do your SOGs. Instead of having like a meeting where we used to sit there and say, okay, SOG number one and read through them. So that online stuff is actually helping, and it's allowing our drills to be actually more drill oriented than classroom oriented. And a lot of the guys really like to do something. They don't want to be sitting in there listening to somebody preach to them. And then I also broke everything out too, because again, the search and rescue. So I broke that out. And again, this is, best case scenario. I mean, if you want to run through, I have training, I have regular drills, online training, outside classes. That's where somebody wants to go to a fire school. I figured a couple classes every now and, a couple weekend classes for a couple people. That seems to be what we do. Firefighter one, I still have a couple people we're paying for their firefighter one, because remember, I stopped doing it. I kind of used the old police department contract idea where if you take firefighter one, the year after you finish the class, we'll pay you 1/3 of your hours for each year at the rate you were at back then. So like if Marco took firefighter one today, next budget year, if he passed today, starting next year, he'd get a check for 1/3 of the hours at his current, not at the new rate, but at the old rate. And we do that over 3 years. So if he leaves after 1 year, we haven't spent all that money. The calls again are just based on, an average number of calls, average number of people times the call rate, and then extended calls is kind of based on what we've seen over the last couple of years. This building equipment and vehicle maintenance, a lot of guys don't put in hours, but if they work to, I need some money to pay them. Mike Aldrich does a lot of work up there. He almost lives there. He doesn't charge for us, but the equipment maintenance is, we do have a person who's certified to do the air packs, and he goes in once a month and he has to pull all the air packs, inspect them. Twice a year he changes the batteries. Officer stipends, those, we pay, everybody gets a stipend depending on your rank. And then your position, not how bad you stay. And officers meetings are, that we have 2 officers meetings a month. Not everybody makes it. So we did it. We have 7 officers. So I did it at like 6. The SAR is search and rescue, and there's the drills, the online training, the outside classes, and then area-wide drill. And that's where once or twice a year, the state police used to do it now. Rescue Inc. is sponsoring it. They'll have like a day and a full 24 up to 36-hour drill, where they do something, they set up like an extended search. The SAR calls, those tend to be longer. They're either really short because somebody gets lost in Mount Snow and they find them in Cousins, or they tend to be really long because they really weren't in Cousins and they were up in Somerset. And then I separate out the SAR too, just so we could see how that plays in. So we do have 1 officer, and we do give a little extra money to the lead search and rescue person. And then the SAR officer, the SAR lieutenant, does come to officers meetings because a lot of stuff kind of covers both sides. The administrative assistant, I've never really had one, so that's kind of committed. So again, I'm just kind of guessing, Sarah's helped out and Candace is, sticking around until we find somebody. And then the special, I do wind up doing the $250 stipend to the 2 fire wardens. I guess I didn't realize that Eastover had somebody else appointed, but and then the town employee stipend is, we did it in the last time we got vamped the personnel policy. We said if a town employee is on the fire department, we're going to give them a little bit of a bonus, because I don't. Like when I was there, if I was working for the police and I went to a fire call, I didn't charge for the fire call because you were already paying me on the other side. So that's a town employee. So that, like I said, is a 146. I'm good. I don't expect that. I just want to show you where I got to and how I got there. And I thought we could talk about, what you felt was an appropriate salary number. And again, I'm looking at last year and where we are this year. Marco, if you were to kind of divide that number into the 5, July, August, September, October, November. July, August, September, October, so we haven't paid November, so it's really four,
It's a third of the year.
it's a third of the year, so.
So if we
we're-
multiply what we've got now, which is in expenses through the end of October, which is close to
Right.
40,000, times 3, we're at 120.
Yeah,
That's just right there. I mean, that's, there's no fudge room in there whatsoever.
Right. But we're not raising rates. We're at the same rate again next year, so, we may be okay.
But we, as you said, we haven't gone through the winter yet,
Right, but again, April, and May tend to be nothing.
but,
Historically, maybe 5 fire, change months, but five.
well, how busy have you been in November?
It's been fairly busy. I mean, we went to Snow Lake 3 or 4 times in a row, and we've been to the base launch 2 or 3 times in one day, so. The other thing though is, remember too, when I get the administrative person online and actually get them up to speed, we're gonna be sending out invoices for those too. So that's gonna help offset with some income
Yeah,
that I had not been able to get in the last 5 years, because I just haven't been able to have the admin person be online.
anybody have any questions of Rich? Scott?
Well, just wondering if I heard that correctly. We're 5 years, we're not 5 years behind on billing. Is that what?
Oh, God, yeah, we've never billed for false fire alarms, I just, that's why I told you folks, and every time I
Never
tell
mind.
you, the administrative position for me is really important. And until I get something full time, that's why it also suggested some thoughts and some changes, but again, I don't have enough time, there's not enough hours in the day for me to do it.
No, I understand that.
Yeah.
But do you really need somebody 40 hours a week?
I don't need somebody 40 hours a week, but I need somebody committed, and the problem is whenever I've had a part-time person is, oh, wait, I'm working at Mount Snow, or I'm doing this, or I'm doing that, and I don't have time, and then
They have
they,
multiple commitments.
and then I also wind up losing, then they're there for a year and a half, you just about get them up to speed. Jeanette's volunteered to do it too, and she can't take any more on,
No, no.
and well, you got the alarms up to speed at one time, and then we lost that, and then the next person got them up to speed, and then they left, and I just keep going in circles.
if you wanna dedicate some of that money, I can do it. Like, not while I'm here, but I can do it as, get paid for it.
Yeah, but I
The
still
hours a week,
need
but
the
I can commit
administration,
you.
yeah.
I can commit to.
Well,
portion of it
that's
as
a conversation with-
environment,
yeah,
we can talk
we'll-
about it.
we'll have it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We did have 2 people apply now.
right,
We did, okay.
Yes. so-
yeah, and I'm hoping
Nancy and
that,
I are gonna coordinate some interviews.
So.
Right.
There you go.
Okay.
and just so everybody, for full disclosure, one of them is a fireman, not Marco. And, I would love to maybe, cause I don't know, you guys will tell me what the experience is, but one's a fireman and one's the significant other of a fireman. So,
Oh,
which may be a plus or may not be a plus,
right.
so we'll see how it all sugars out.
Mike, did you have a comment?
Yeah, I just had maybe a suggestion that, regarding the training that Rich was talking about. I found a pretty simple grant through Passive. It's a 2-page form where you just have to prove why the training would decrease liability. And I can send you that, and I plan on using that quite a bit in the coming year for training.
Yeah. Can you bring that Monday night when you come?
Yeah,
Okay.
so it's a very simple form, and again, all you have to do is.
No, most of their forms have been, most of their grants have been really simple, like
It's
this,
literally a sentence or two as to why this could reduce liability.
and that may be good to help pay for the.
Yeah, that's 100% match, and I don't believe there's a cap on it.
We have tried, we did have some, VLCT did offer some training that, we incorporated, but we have a really nice training site, and we have a gentleman who's very good with technology on the department, and we've made him the training officer. He's taken over the training, and that's one of the reasons why it's doing so well, but it's costing us because there's more people doing more training. And it's been fantastic, and again, you can go, we're doing CPR now, we're actually getting a certification, where in the past somebody from rescue would come up and they would talk for 2 hours and we would do a few things and we were blessed for CPR. And for some of us, that's great. We've had it for 30 years, 40 years. But there's other people that it's fairly new to them. And they've never done it, you know, in real life or on a real live dead person. So we, you know, we're doing it. So there's an American Heart thing. It's a 6-hour class you take online. And then they come up and they're doing a 4-hour training. And then we get a certification. And it allows them to also get firefighters level 1 certification where the other training didn't allow that to happen. So.
Okay, anything else you wanna say, Rich?
Oh, no, so then if you go through the rest of I just want to remind, Marco, I just noticed the
Yeah.
FICA didn't carry forth.
It's a formula, we'll have,
Yeah.
it's just, yeah.
And then, you know, that we have retirement VEMRs, because if you're a town employee, any money you get from any town entity, you do get, you have to pay the VEMRs, but they get credit. It shows a higher rate when they retire. And then on the administration, you know, the office expense is at 1,300. And then the dispatch went up 3.5%. Remember that we cover Eastover's part of that too, and that also includes dispatching for Deerfield Valley Rescue. And fees and dues is up quite a bit because we used to have this firehouse program and we've had to go to, they changed, they didn't support it anymore. We went to this ESO, which is who bought out Firehouse. And I think it's part of, I don't remember who it's part of, but it's quite a bit more a month. So ESO is $4,500 per year, where we used to pay like $100 a year. Synergy is the program where they get the calls on their phone so that, you know, they don't have to carry a pager everywhere. Mutual aid, there's a dues to belong to the mutual aid system on top of the dispatching. So there are departments that don't have dispatching. For years, Eastover didn't have dispatching, they were just a member. And then there's Deerfield Valley Mutual Aid, which is the local mutual aid, and that's $75, big money. Fire department vehicles, and maybe has Travis been or is he coming?
He's coming.
Okay, so you know, last year we got charged $4,800 for fuel, $4,300. I don't think we used that, so I didn't know how. Travis, I forgot to ask you this one. How did you come up with $4,300 for fuel last year? Did we really use that much?
We get it off the pump, it's from the.
Oh, for the.
It's coded, right?
Oh, for the diesel.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Wow, I mean, we, you
it's
know,
all tracked through my system.
yeah, okay, because
Yeah.
I know
I
the
can show
system
you
was
what-
down for a while. So I went back to 1,000 because, you know, Bobby and Gary and Phil used to charge us like $1,000 or $1,500. So
I can go back and see where that calculation, because it tells us the exact gallon.
yeah, it seems really high to us. I mean, that's 1,000 gallons of fuel. So I don't know.
Yeah, we'll look at it.
Okay, so if we can look at that, and then vehicle parts and supplies, this year we're still high. I want to go back to 15 because we are getting a new truck. So the oldest truck, operating truck, the old Mack, is going down the road. And one of the things that's happened is it's very easy for us. We take our trucks to Twin State to go through them because the highway can't do it. They don't have time and enough people. So and it's very convenient to run because 2 people have to go over, drop a truck off because somebody's got to come back. And then it's easy to just bring the next truck and just rotate trucks through because it's one person going back and forth. And then at the end, you have to have 2. But we did that this year, so we won't be doing that next year. In a perfect world, I would try to do half the trucks one year and half the other, but unfortunately, then it costs more in labor to get them back and forth.
So you said you want to take that down to 15 on the
Yes, whatever I put in there.
20.
Oh, I'm sorry, but we're at 27. right?
Yes, we are.
Yeah, so no, we can come down to 20 then.
Okay.
And then with the new truck, and again, I don't spend that unless it's not one of those line items. They say, oh, there's extra money. I'll buy more. You know, paper or something. I try to keep that in the oil line items true. And then training physicals, we came down a little bit because we're not doing as much outside training with the new training program. The hydrant maintenance is high because one of the officers had a dry hydrant set up and it didn't happen, but we bought the parts, and then I'm gonna try to get Travis to do the nice thing for me next year and, and put it in. It's down to, it's down by Tollgate Village. There's a pond out there because we really won't have much water down that way, and the pond isn't something you can get to. I'd actually personally like to see something maybe up at Sawmill, but one or the other. Radio equipment grant expense, I don't know why that's even in there. Radio maintenance, it's about 1750. Small equipment repair, that went up significantly, but if you look off to the right, it didn't print on this, wonderful. What I did was I got a little grief from some of the firemen and some of the search and rescue people because they want to know, where was the search and rescue budget? Like, it's just in the equipment budget, if you need something, you ask for it, we look at the budget. Well, they want their own search and rescue budget, so the search and rescue budget is actually, we set it at about $5,600. We talked with Ben Joyce is doing that. So we're looking for one GPS a year to keep them updated. And then there's some expendable things like disposable blankets and heat packs and some hats and gloves. So 5,600 of that is
Search and rescue.
Yep. And we had several items there, but I didn't break it out because I created a bunch more line items with Marco on payroll. I didn't want to upset the apple cart and make more.
So can I ask, so on the radio maintenance, which is above, just slightly above
Yep.
that, we are a negative, so we've not spent, we've got $671 that we have a credit for.
Right,
How come?
because we had some work done for mutual aid, and then they tried to bill me again and we paid it, and it should have been a warranty item, so I argued it with them.
Okay,
We got credit.
so we're in the positive on that one.
Yeah, but don't worry, we'll be fixing some bugs. Plus, we just had to set that new truck up, so we had to switch radios around. So
Okay,
we also took a radio out of my old truck and it's supposed to go on my new truck.
I just thought that was weird that we had
Yeah.
credit.
Every now and then I try to do well. Mileage reimbursement, and then, yeah, 5,600 for search. The numbers are on the right-hand
Yeah,
side
I
of
see that.
I'm sorry, I forgot. I thought they were spread out more. And then the other is electric, telephone. Heating really threw me for a loop because I looked at our heating bill, what we paid already. This year was like nothing, but last year we paid a lot.
Need credits that we
Okay.
carried over, yeah.
Okay, so I again, oil's one of those ones, if I have a huge surplus, I don't go saying, oh, I got extra money at the bottom line. So I don't know what to put that at, so again, I put 10 because that was pretty close to this year. Again, like I used to joke at town meeting all the time, my crystal ball was working, I sure wouldn't be here, I'd be playing the futures market if I knew what oil was gonna be a year and a half down the pike.
I know, but I think it's gone down, and I'm guessing that it's probably not gonna stay down as long
I
as
don't
it
think
is.
so
I mean, you're the one who buys fuel but we're already at half of your budget this year.
Yeah, but I thought I paid once. Isn't it a pre-buy?
Yeah,
Right, so we've paid for it, haven't we?
yeah, so you're gonna be on. Theoretically,
That's
yeah.
what I'm saying.
Because of the credit.
Okay, well, I didn't
Yeah.
know there was a credit, so how much was a
So
credit?
that's why we're budgeting 10 grand for this year, the credit is.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's why I'm looking to you guys. I threw a number in there, I'm asking.
Well,
What are
so
you doing with everybody
if we've
else?
only spent 10,000, say, this year.
Yeah.
And we had a credit. That still means we probably really needed to spend, for next year,
Yeah.
20, so taking it down for next
Was
year.
there $10,000 credit?
5,200.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
50,
so let's put it at 15.
yeah, I think we definitely should do that.
No, and again, this one I didn't know, this is what I
Oh,
figured.
so
would
let's
be
change
cost.
that, Marco.
Yep.
Cause you don't wanna
Yep.
be too short, cause 10 seems very low.
No, and again, I was just going by what I'd spent so
Yeah.
far. I was actually a little.
I may have to tweak the other buildings too, but I'll go back. Yeah, okay,
Okay, and then fire station sewer, those numbers, we're just kind of getting into this, so I don't have a lot of background. But that seemed to be about what we were spending. I think this year we spent 140, but there should be another bill in the spring,
yeah,
so I doubled that.
There,
And then building maintenance, I just left at 10. So, because I also had some comments and changes to make in the capital budgets too.
but we haven't done capital yet.
Okay, well, because that's gonna affect equipment, so can do I have 5 seconds?
Oh, yeah, you have 5 seconds, but I mean, honestly, we're gonna sit down and hash out all capital equipment at a separate meeting.
Okay,
Okay, all capital budgets, sorry.
yeah, just real quick, a few years ago, we added fire gear and air packs.
Mhm.
The idea being, there's usually every 5 years, there's new standards, you're usually good 2 standards. So like the new standard comes out today, I can use gear from the last 2 standards. The problem was when we bought all that gear, I forget, say we got 15 sets for 15 people. Then, 7 people were no longer there between the time we fitted them and the gear came in. And then we get new people coming in, and if you're not the right size, I lost my gear for a while, my pants and my boots, because we had a new guy. And he was hopefully gonna be able to go in the building, so he took my fire pants. So what I was wondering, and I noticed and not to pick on the police department or the town office, but I noticed they're doing technology and computers, and they're putting money in every year for that. And I thought if it was a yearly thing, we didn't budget in the capital budget. But my thought was, I have 53,000 from this current budget, no, from last year's budget for gear, fire gear. And we're in the process of ordering, but I put the brakes on that to ask you folks would you all be interested if we could put 6,300 away, which is 2 to 3 sets of gear a year? And then that way, as new people come in or gear gets destroyed, we're not gonna see the same kind of, but it shouldn't be far off. We're not gonna see the kind of savings when I can say, hey, we're buying 15 sets, but if I'm buying 3 sets every year, 4 sets. Can we do something like that? And it does show in there, but I thought that was a mistake, because I thought we talked about it and you guys didn't want me to do it.
No, I thought that's what we were doing, we
Okay,
were
so I'm good to
replacing,
do that.
yeah,
Okay, so,
and so next year you also have $120,000 for air packs.
right, and we're gonna change that too. Because the air packs are, they're, I think I got 15 years that you can do them, that they're considered good for.
Mhm.
So I'm not gonna just go and replace all the air packs. I think I'd like to maybe do the same kind of thing with them and look at them again. And it's the same with the trucks. There's some trucks that we can bump out again. But
Okay, so
I need to
I would
increase the
suggest
numbers.
you put together your proposed plan in a spreadsheet just like this, so that we can see it and evaluate it at the capital budget. So, but it's fine that you let us know you have some ideas about changing, that's fine.
Okay,
Good.
well, I wasn't sure because I thought something said too that you're gonna review capital budgets today.
No, I don't think we were.
No.
No, we always do that separately.
Well, I thought so. That's why I thought it was weird that we
It
have,
doesn't say it on the agenda.
No, but
On-
in an email somewhere, I thought it said, please submit your
Cap, well, we
budgets.
like to have, we like to get things as early as possible, considering this is the 29th, and that was due the 20th.
20.
20th.
You got it 10 minutes before the meeting instead of 5.
I will tell you something though. We were doing it on the 20th. And there was a fire, there was an accident. And the police department didn't have enough people to do traffic, so we had to stay and do traffic, and by 8:30, I said,
All
I'm
right.
out of here.
You
So-
get out of jail free.
I have a quick irrelevant question. The fire department sometimes have outside, how many calls they've been on?
Outside.
Signs.
Buy me that electronic sign, get permissions that I can put it up, we'll do it every day.
Does that help in fire safety in any way?
Just cool. Remember, this is not a community, it helps in communities.
Right.
These are our vacation people, Airbnb people, all they do is they care about coming up here for whatever their little time is. And we had somebody burn bacon again the other day. And it says, do not open the door, if you have smoking here, open the window, and you know, they can't read that sign because when they're here on vacation, right? I don't know,
I think it's,
it's just about, let me ask these guys, you know,
Yeah.
we got hard fly off the road, you know, well, you know, you came up to ski, but you got go fast summer tires on, you go fast on the car, you think it just snows on the roads too.
can you ask Andy to come up, please, Rich?
I will.
Thank you.
guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for not answering my question.
It's really rude of us.
He just said it's not a people don't care because it's a different person every week,
Snowfall on the road.
you know, up here too.
They're the ones who are causing the fire, so maybe that might help.
Doesn't allow those kinds of.
There's no neon-y
Yeah.
changeable signs, except for at gas stations.
Right.
That's the one exception.
So they can put one up there?
You put it at Rich's place.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it can only be the price of gas. I think we're pushing it.
Brunswick has nice things. Headed toward Albany.
Well, you know, we're
Yes,
talking
they have
about-
nice firehouses too,
Oh, yeah.
and lights too.
We're talking about rewriting the town bylaw, we can talk about.
I don't know.
For fire and police.
Make an exception for them.
I don't know if it's really, I'm almost with Rich. People don't really pay attention. Sorry, you were late. That's, our fire chief had a lot to say.
I'll make up for it in my brevity.
Oh, very nice. Okay, you're on, Andy.
Okay, you have copies of my budget, I
Yes,
assume?
we do.
Alright, pretty straightforward. I changed a few things, let's see, so if you go down to BCA and election expense, I beefed that up when I had to buy all that plexiglass and do all that COVID related stuff. So I dropped that back down, but not very far, because we have the election next year and I want to be ready for anything. Land record books, I dropped back down. Recording has dropped since COVID, since last year, and I think that will do us. I want to buy some file cabinets for Jeanette, she's filling hers up. We do need to bind some town reports this year, archival binding of reports.
Oh, Joe's here.
Hey, Joe.
Hello, I'm here. I'm in Tennessee, so I'm in a car right now. But I'm here.
Cool. Index card paper with the new COT system. We are using less of that. Dog tags, certified paper. And looks like I beefed up the mileage. Goes up every year. The rate does, and every once in a while I gotta bump it to keep up. Toner is expensive, I didn't want to run out of toner. And that's about it. I think it's pretty straightforward.
I think it's pretty straightforward too. Does anybody have any questions of Andy? Nope. All right,
Awesome,
you successfully got us right back on schedule and then some.
awesome,
So
thank you.
now. So Travis, you're up early. Are you ready?
Sure.
10 minutes early?
Yep. That's no fun.
You'll start with.
Let me get there.
Transfer station or highway?
You want to start with transfer station? Why not? We're in the general.
That sounds fun. Transfer station it is.
Okey dokey.
So the transfer station. The only changes I have. Are the expenses. Need to go up on, just, you know, things are going up with the with the trucking and the tipping fees and everything, you know,
So mixed solid waste.
yeah,
It's so expensive, I mean, no. Recycling
yeah.
is
Single
so,
stream, yeah.
single stream is so expensive, it's like, why are we doing it? And, but the question I have to ask. There's no market for the single stream,
Exactly.
so what is happening to that stuff?
I don't know.
Well, I think we should ask.
I don't know.
I-
I don't go to any of the solid waste meetings or any of that, so I don't really.
Well, Kevin Stein does,
Yep,
obviously.
Yep,
But, and I think his idea of potentially getting the cardboard.
yeah,
Is another option to help, because there's a lot of cardboard.
yeah, there
And there is
is.
a market for cardboard,
There is if it's sorted out, yeah,
yeah.
and it would cut down on our recycling.
Yeah.
But, so,
Some of the
It-
volume.
and it didn't used to be this way, it
No.
just, single stream's gone through the roof.
Yeah.
So that tells me there's no market, and so they're trying to find places to put this stuff.
Yes. I don't-
It,
It's super frustrating, you know, we just had another change with the compost.
yeah,
I don't know how good that's gonna work out, but we'll see.
well, what's that about?
So they're getting rid of our front load dumpster and they're using the plastic cans, like what they use out on the side of the street.
For compost?
Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah, I got in a little thing with the Casella the other day, cause. What are we gonna do about the bears up there? I mean,
Right,
they're gonna have those plastic containers all over the yard, but. Whatever.
They'll fall inside and lock them up every night.
all right, well, I agree with you, you have
Inside,
to, you have to go
stink,
up,
and then
up
you're
a
gonna have
lot.
a rodent problem in the building and.
So,
Terrible.
Kevin Stein did go to the,
Yeah,
with solid waste.
that was a good idea, and
And-
I followed up with the people down in Brattleboro.
Yeah.
He filled me in on a lot of it, so
That would,
I'm really considering it.
okay, good,
I did look into it.
okay,
It might be a good idea for us,
good.
but I still wanted to go up on it.
Of course, I think
On,
that's,
on the recycling and the regular transfer station expenses, as you can see. You know, the recycling, we went up to 47 from 20.
and it's been very busy again.
It has, and looking at the current budget, like we've already. We're at almost half or something like that
Mhm.
already,
Mhm.
and the first part of that, it was still triple T. So I'm trying to, you know, guesstimate. Because once they switched hands, the rates went up. Too, you know,
Mhm.
so at least the first part of last year's budget, it was on triple T. And then it, you know, so
Well, so
that's the jump,
they're also a monopoly now,
yeah,
so there's
There's
no
no-
market,
there's no one else.
no, they're it.
And then building maintenance. I'd like to go up to 3,000 on that, just in case something ever happened down there, you know.
3,500.
Yeah, 35, sorry, yeah. And that's it for changes, I mean, other than the payroll will be the normal 3% raise.
And it's down because.
Right, it's down
he's at a
because of
lower
that.
rate than
Yeah.
Chris was.
Right,
Mhm.
yeah,
Anybody have questions about the transfer station budget? Sarah?
There's been some emails going around about the selling. At the dump or the transfer station, and that might involve hiring somebody else to be there on weekends or something, is that?
I haven't seen any of I haven't seen any of the emails, I've heard word of it, but I haven't gotten involved in any of the emails yet. Andy was gonna send me some.
Joe
Should I
wants to speak.
Yeah, we're not gonna hire, I just spoke to Andy, about there's no reason to hire someone else. We figured it out. There should be dump permits going up there.
Okay.
And Marcos eats the numbers back and forth, so we're figuring it out. We're not hiring someone
Yeah.
else. That's just hearsay in an email, Sarah.
Yeah,
Good.
But I wanted to get it out and talk about it.
Yep, it's gonna happen. I got the tickets here with me now and I'm gonna take them up
Great.
there with instructions and we're good. It's gonna happen.
Thank you.
Yep,
So he has like a square.
Staff, no, he's gonna sell, so he will have the ability to sell the permits. at the transfer station, so if somebody's here just the weekend and they can't get to the town office, they can buy it up there.
Right.
Parallel to that, we were considering doing like a punch card setup to
For
to
back,
reduce
for
the amount of cash.
Mhm.
But I'm thinking the more like I talk and the more I find out, I've had Eric looking into it too. I think a more like a square type of solution because so many people just don't have cash, they don't carry checks. So maybe you can start taking credit cards and debit cards and tapping up there, looking at like a square. They're very inexpensive.
Mhm.
So in front of me is
yeah.
where, which I will be happy to do for the town. To set up for the station, you'll know the customers, they can get their card and just put it on the thing. And it runs it, you'll have a list of who the customers are, so that this way, if they register, once they come in, they're registered, you know, whether they're people for the town. It'd be
So that's
more than
something, I
happy
think
to-
that, is a little bit further down the road. I think now it's just trying to get transfer station permits so that
Agreed.
you can capture
But
that.
one, we
Yeah.
also need to consider the fee,
Yeah.
that credit cards.
The credit card fees, and I know Joe and I have spoken about it,
So we
there are a lot of them that have a transaction minimum, so it'd be like $1.50 minimum, you just tip $3 and now you're gonna spend $1.50 on the
Yeah,
street.
Square
I
has,
think the town may.
so Square has no minimum, number
Right.
one. There's no charge for the POS system, costs you nothing. They have a 3% charge for a credit card charge. But
Yeah.
you can also have a cash register there that takes the cash. It then
Yeah.
does all your
That's-
accounting for you.
You're not letting me finish.
Okay, sorry,
Cause the systems that I was looking at were municipal based.
right.
And they all have minimums, like the companies that process property tax payments, et cetera, they have a lot of those minimums, because they're used to dealing with bigger numbers.
Right.
With a Square, it's the straight up 3%, and so it's an issue of whether the town just eats that fee.
3% is
year,
one thing,
three-
but
yeah.
yes, I agree.
So, it's just, but we capture, I think, more revenue, just easier for people, so just be just the cost of doing business and.
The credit card charges go straight into the bank. You set up
Yeah.
an account for it. It does all the accounting for you, so you have no accounting.
Yeah,
to do.
it's easy to reconcile.
But we already take credit card payments for.
For the
that's
town, so I started with that company,
Yeah.
then I called Brattleboro and said, what do you do with your, like, parking meters? And they said, that's a whole other company, and they do certain things, but they're mostly related to parking.
Like writing tickets.
Okay.
But
Right.
yeah, so,
Well, this
Right.
wasn't really,
yeah, but
but
it's
it's in progress.
Laying the ground.
Because I thought it was gonna.
Yeah. laying the groundwork, it's good.
Anything else here, Travis?
No, not on transfer.
All right.
Speak. Can I
We're gonna-
speak?
Yes, go, Joe.
Well, we're in the budgeting process, so it does have something to do with talking about it now, so that we budget maybe a little bit for technology up at the dump for after June, so that people are aware that we're gonna invest some money in technology up there.
So we
That makes
don't have a technology line item at this point.
I'm just saying, maybe we should put something in the budget so that we can.
It could be in capital, we do have it in
Right.
capital, but we could put it in the regular budget as well, so. It's a question of how you.
Yeah.
I have no idea how much,
Yeah,
not
I
much.
mean, I know to buy one is 1,300, but Dan says they're free, so I don't know.
No, you
Yeah.
have to buy an iPad.
Right, so the system we're looking at is soup to nuts. Turnkey. About
Less than-
$1,300, right?
Okay, so that seems like a
Okay.
reasonable number to put in.
Okay,
Okay,
I would put in a
Perfect.
little extra,
a little extra
this,
technology.
yeah.
What's our setup at the building where the transfer, I mean, I don't understand, do you have Wi-Fi at the?
I believe there is Wi-Fi, but like that might need to be updated.
Yes,
We
Yeah.
might need to have an electrician come in and add in some extra outlets for, such,
Yeah.
that's what I mean. I think
yeah, you would
I would
know
add in a
better,
little fluff.
yeah, I don't know how many outlets there are out there.
Right,
you know,
yeah,
And
yeah,
so let's put in 2,000,
okay.
and that gives us some room
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
any upgrades we might need
Yeah.
to make it work, because if it doesn't work, it's no good.
right, yep.
You good with that, Joe?
Yuppers.
Okay, all right. Are we good with transfer station? Can we talk about highway? All right. Travis, have at it.
All right. Highway. So. You want me to start with the administration, or you want me to start with payroll?
Just start with payroll.
Start with payroll, okay, so that is up because I wanna do dollar across the board plus the 3%. We've got a good crew, I wanna keep them, please.
All right, you're happy with them?
Yep,
Excellent,
yep,
excellent. New
Yep.
hires and everything.
yep, I'm good with them. I think that
How's the training coming?
they're pulling through and everybody's, learning as they go. I mean, the newer guys, but they're hanging in there, they're not jumping ship, so I like to keep going and press on with them.
Right?
Yep. Uniform rental, we should go up.
Yeah, it
Cost of
looks like
that,
that's gone up.
yep, cost of that's gone up. Fuel, oil and vehicles. And I went up 10,000 on that just because. The price of tires and the price of fuel and, I didn't know how much extra we should do, but I figured 10,000 would. Help. Parts and tires, I'd like to go up to 90,000 on.
Hold on 1 second before.
Yep.
So, do you have an idea how much of the fuel and everything gets consumed during the winter months? Is it like half of it? Half?
No, but I could find out.
I mean, just your budget is good right now.
Yeah.
You're only at 16%.
Yeah.
Through October, maybe.
Yep.
That's a third of the year. But
I
you
can
got-
find out because my fuel system, that fuel system we bought
That's
years
just-
ago, that tracks everything, every transaction, amounts, everything.
So, like-
Usage for months, years, weeks, however you
Wow.
want, I can print it out.
Yeah, I would just be curious because, we also did budget because we knew how much fuel was last year and
Yep.
it's definitely come down.
Yep,
So
Okay.
that's a big number. And so
Yep.
if we only usually use about 40% during the winter,
yep,
then maybe we should look at that number. You
Yep,
know what I mean?
okay.
Because I know that this number was based on a much higher,
Yeah.
particularly for diesel,
Right.
that's even come
Yep.
down and,
I also take in, under that line item, my oil changes, drums of oil
okay,
and the DEF, the diesel exhaust fluid that the diesel trucks need now.
Mhm.
I have that supplied in a 330 gallon tote because it was way too much money to buy them by the drum.
oh, wow.
So I have it delivered by a tanker truck into a tote. And so that's gone up a little bit too, so
Okay,
just those are figured in as well, just so
Yeah.
you know.
so it
not
might
just-
be legit, but.
Yep, no, it's fine.
I know we did a big jump because fuel was so high last
Yeah,
year.
yeah,
And it isn't at the moment as high, and it's reflected in your budget too.
yep, okay,
And your usage of the
Right now.
funds, so,
yep, okay,
okay,
yep. Yeah, and so parts and tires, I went up to 90,000 on that. And then, under the roads. Road construction, I wanted to bump that up $10,000. I put a lot of the stuff we rent to do the shoulders and a lot of the construction stuff. And some of the stone for the stone line ditch grants and all that, a lot of that comes out of the road construction. So I'd like to up that. The culverts have gone up in price. So I'd like to make that 25,000.
sure you get all the culverts you can out of Green Mountain Power.
Yeah, so that's what I figured, I buy a truckload every year. I buy the full, $18,000-$20,000 worth.
Mhm.
And they've gone up a little bit, so I just wanna stay stocked up on them. We have a lot in stock, but I wanna keep that stock. And I figured when they start coming and digging and find some more, we'll wanna make sure to get it back.
Mhm.
So guardrails and signs, I'd like to go up to 20,000 on that. The signage we've done in the past has gone up and we've been doing quite a bit more guardrail work lately, as you guys have seen.
Mhm.
So I'd like that to go up. Line painting. I'd like that to go up a couple thousand. We can't, when we come in and do the line painting, we can't quite get everything, so I've been trying to alternate some years here, some years there. But I'd like to try to do just a touch more, so that's why that went up a couple thousand. The chloride, the price of that had gone up, so I just figured we'd go up another 1,000 on that, just to make it an even 30. Gravel, I'd like to make that up 90,000 if we can. Because.
Yeah, you're blowing through a lot of gravel.
Yes, the gravel, the price of it has gone crazy. It really has. The cheap stuff now is like $18.50 a yard. It's and that's not delivered. That's us buying it at the pit and then trucking it ourselves.
So do you think there's any opportunity? I think that the New Fame pit's gonna be probably online in 2024.
Yep,
I think there's any chance that they'd sell any?
I don't know. I could definitely look into it.
I know you know.
Yeah, oh yeah,
It's worth an ask,
yeah,
right?
for sure, for
Yeah.
sure.
How you doing, Uber driver?
And then the sand. I have that trucked in as well,
Mhm.
and the cost of trucking is,
Is that coming from Maine?
no, it's coming from Northfield, Mass.
Oh, Northfield.
Yep.
Okay. Okay,
Yep, I'd
What's
like
up?
that to go up to
Very
90,000 as well,
Sounds-
because we're figuring
But-
trucking for that.
Mushrooms?
Salt, I'd like to go up to 142,000.
Joe, could you mute?
I want mine
on
me.
Hold on.
That's fine.
I had to quickly move away from that.
Why am I not muted?
I don't think he heard you about the mute.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, thank you, Jeanette. Sorry.
I-
Salt at 142. I wanted to up the salt budget. One, so we could get a little bit more usage out of what we have budgeted, and two, I was gonna see, when it comes to capital budgets, I was gonna see if you guys wanted to do more new paving. If you don't, then we can adjust this. If you do, then, then I would keep it at this.
Okay, well, we'll revisit that,
Yep,
but in the
That sounds fine. At the
capital
capital,
paving.
yep. Maintenance, I'd like to go up to 70,000. And
Anything in particular?
for the maintenance,
Yeah,
well, some of it is some of these things that we're running into on repairs on some of the trucks are, the hourly rate at the shops, stuff we can't do ourselves has gone up considerably. And that line item hasn't really changed that much,
Okay.
in quite a while, so I'd like to just bump that up for now. $5,000.
Okay.
And that is it for me.
okay. Anybody have any comments, questions of Travis? All right. Good. You look good.
Thank you.
You do. Hope you feel good.
Yep, I do. I feel great.
Look good.
Yep.
Good. Nice to have you back.
Yep, thank you.
Oh, thanks, Travis.
Yep, you're welcome.
We'll see you at a future capital budgets meeting,
yeah.
I'm sure.
For sure.
All right.
Yeah, you know when that is, not yet, resetting it.
Are we setting it Tuesday night to that?
We can do that.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Marco.
Hi. So mine's pretty quick as well. I'm looking at 4750 for treasurer mileage expense. It's basically the printing of tax bills and mailing, some mileage to get to the bank, which more or less the same. I went over a little bit last year because we got an invoice for the tax bills for this year. but we paid it last year, we paid it a little early. So I anticipate not seeing that this year.
Whenever you want to.
Also gonna be leaving shortly, and I wanna make sure.
Well, you did.
I have a doctor's, I did.
No, you didn't.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm pretty much at 4750.
Stereo.
There's one thing that I've been using Minuteman to do some inter-year mailings because our folding machine is down. I'm looking into getting it fixed. They
Okay.
don't make a lot of those parts, but there's a guy I found that Minuteman uses to fix her equipment. He's in Connecticut.
You got a guy.
So we're trying to figure out a way when he comes to get her stuff to sort of meet halfway to not pay the mileage. I wanted to look at the machine. I think it's just needs a good going through. So
I would
that's
think
just an
that you would
FYI.
want that.
Yeah, so and then as far as salary, I put in as a cost of living 5% for now, not trying to be greedy or anything, and I'm aware of sensitivities and pressures. It's just kind of where my peers that I've called around that do the same work I do, they've been getting 5 and 6%, but that's just for discussion purposes at this point. Obviously, ultimately it's your call. So that's it.
Okay, any questions of Marco? None. We haven't talked about raises at all. then.
No, so yeah,
So that's,
yeah,
I
it's
just,
just,
that's-
yeah,
we want to hear everybody's.
yeah, it's just where, kind of what I'm gauging, but, obviously we have to work it out all out, so.
Okay. You department ready to go up early? You guys ready? We're a half an hour ahead of schedule.
Chief already asked it.
Well, he hasn't been sworn in yet.
Acting chief.
Chief
Elect.
Mike's presenting the budget.
I appreciate that. I was just thinking, I'm sorry, I was thinking about swearing in Jeanette. Do you have that all figured out how it's gonna go?
Next Tuesday?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I was.
I
have it on.
You do it.
Sorry?
You do it?
Yeah. We have the form.
Oh, I can put my hand and say, yeah, very.
Okay, I just was, so we should get that on the agenda for sure.
It is.
Because since he's doing the budget he's doing the heavy lifting in town.
It really is.
So, yeah. So, okay.
Starting somewhere.
All right, please, let me get there. All right, Mike, you're on.
So, I mean, the quick and dirty part of it is that payroll's down 11% and total police budget is down 9%. Payroll, I'm kind of looking at the same thing as highway and what Marco just said, it's pretty much 5% is what I would be looking at to get to that number.
What? So payroll is down because he's leaving
Because we have, between the shifting of.
and you have a new office manager.
Yep,
Okay. All right, I'm just trying to understand the reasons it's down, because that's a significant down, so. Okay,
Plus, whoever he promotes to sergeant, will do his name.
so it's a ripple effect.
Yes, like it has been in body.
Okay. All right, sorry, Mike.
I mean, I can try to even it out better for you if it makes it feel better. But as of right now, what I'm looking at is it's down the 11%.
Okay,
Beyond that, we could go through line by line, but it's pretty on par. Are there any questions?
Is the equipment down? I mean, it's not a big number, it went from 3,000 to 2,500.
So one of the main reasons is because of the new body camera system that we have, we're getting rid of some fees that used to come out there. So it's about 1,300 a year is coming off of that, but I didn't drop it that much just because the price of everything is still going through the roof.
Where's the new body cam,
Body camera line,
body worn contract, 7260?
so
Okay.
also, just so you know on that, there was a very stupid miscalculation that was finally caught and the yearly price went down another $660.
It did, I thought it was closer to
Yeah.
like 77 and something.
So,
Well, we like that.
yeah, it was a happy mistake, I guess. So that's a little bit less than.
So how about our first payment? Did we pay less or did we pay the full?
It was, yeah, it was a lot. We had to do some finagling, but it's not, that amount was what was paid.
Beautiful.
And then, so the other things that are slightly different, the fees and dues. We were paying 2 times for some of the cheap things so that I could be on get some of the information that Randy was getting. So with him gone, we're only paying 1 time for some of the chief's dues. We're getting rid of like the reformer, nobody needs a paper anymore in the office.
Excuse me.
Brattleboro paper.
I don't know, when you wanna read about the Dover tax sale, where do you read it?
So that went down, training and dues is down, a little bit because we haven't been using it as much because. Most of the mandatory state training is paid for now, it's free to us, and as I said, I found that grant, so I'm hoping to offset a lot of training costs that way. What else?
I know, it's pretty impressive. It's down 9% overall.
Yeah, and with the body cameras, it's down, so
Yeah.
that's what we need.
Cleaning out the old wood.
Anybody have any questions about the police department budget?
Down 9% exciting.
Yeah.
And as I said, if it makes everyone more comfortable, I can find a way to spend some more.
I
But this is what.
thought you were gonna come back around if there was any ARPA money left too.
I could, I definitely have stuff I could use it for, but I don't want to take it off.
Well, I'll be curious how your capital budget looks, Mike. Your
I just wanna
capital
say, Mike,
budget, building budget.
It's there, right?
Scott.
just wanted to say I appreciate finding those grants and looking for those grants. Appreciate that.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Oh, you're a lot faster than Randy.
I'm more talkative, right?
You're loquacious.
I just go by my guy didn't get ready, just there's the.
There's not a lot that's very different than previous years, so.
No, obviously the big transition and, you know, of some very senior people in the department. We saw this in other departments when this happens, so, that's a big savings.
So the way I got to that number probably needs to be talked about at some point, but it would need to be executive session, I think, too. So.
Are we talking employee by employee?
Yeah, for a couple of things that I would like to see change in the very near future, that we've kind of already briefly talked about. I would like to enact that sooner than later, so Janetta maybe executive session for the next.
How's our agenda looking? Is it getting pretty busy?
No, not really, I mean, they're not very. They're small items.
Mhm. No 20 minutes of,
Unless Eric throws something at me, but,
You're not even in here to hear that.
okay.
okay,
Did Sherry give you, just by going and take this minute anyway, the snowmobile thing?
Yes. Yes.
okay. Well, thank you.
After June.
Bye.
I think a full agenda motivates us to be very succinct.
Well, actually, that Zoom meeting went, besides the 20 minutes about small business administration, went fairly fast.
full transparency, I was still in the middle, I fell asleep.
But you were there, your name was there.
I wasn't there because I woke up at 8:30. I was very COVID-y.
All right. So I,
Did you have the warrants?
Oh,
yeah, you want,
I haven't seen them yet.
but
I'll stick right with you.
Dan looked at them
Yeah.
and I looked at them. So do we have anything else we need to talk about? Then I'd like to adjourn the meeting at 2:41. And I can go back to the office.
When is
4:30.
4:30?
And you can do that by Zoom.
I may do that.
So you're not gonna approve the warrants then?
I'm looking at.
Oh, is it on there?
Yeah, it's on the agenda.
Oh.
So for,
All right, well then are you still there, Scott?
Yeah, he has.
I guess I'm taking that back because I missed an agenda item. But we only had 2 people look at it. So Sarah's looking at it now and Dan just left, so I don't think we can approve it.
I told Jeanette I'd be in tomorrow to look at.
You're gonna be,
So someone's gonna come look at it. It did go out, it should have come out today. but
okay,
That I can put it on for the next.
okay,
Well, can we text Dan and ask him if he votes yes?
he's probably driving.
Somebody yell out the window?
Dan? Let me call him. Let me call him.
I can yell out through the window.
Is he there?
He's right out.
Oh, yeah, yell out the window.
I'm literally.
Okay.
Hey, Dan, think he's calling you, answer your
No, it said he's on Zoom, so we can't.
Dan, come back upstairs.
No, he doesn't have to. Where is he? You approved the warrant, Dan.
You know what?
I think we're gonna need a mover
As long
representative.
as you've seen them and
You're
you're good with every meeting,
Yeah.
I can nail them out.
Yeah,
I would just
okay,
do it.
just like we do every week.
You have time.
Okay, we're fine, we're fine. I will sign them.
Okay, so we're gonna close the meeting.
Yeah, we're closed.
But I have not for today, but credit card.
Oh, yeah.
From